my question to you is, I have knocked on doors and made lots of phone calls when we tried to eliminate income tax. Have spoken with a lot of very intelligent people with a lot of graduate degrees and asked them, why would you want to pay it if you don't have to, if we eliminate it? And they were appalled that I was even asked them a question. I have come to this country because in a constitution it says you have a right to bear arms. When in Nazi Germany, people were prohibited to bear arms, we know the results. When in the Soviet Russia in the early 20s, people were ordered to give up the arms, we know the results. How do you fight the people who are willing to give up their arms and their money in taxes not to do that? So the moon is not ready for me. I can't go anywhere else. There is no freer country in the world. What do I do?
I would say that, first of all, remember something. Around the country, I think Republicans have 30 governorships. I know they control 25 state legislatures entirely. So we're here in the worst of the worst. You know what I'm saying? We're just in a really bad spot. But what I would say is that you're not losing arguments as often as you think you are on the facts. You're losing arguments on the brand, on just this notion that Republicans are nuts, or I don't like them, or there's something wrong with being Republican. And this is where I think Howie and I disagree. You can say, well, the people are just stupid. Okay, well, excuse me, when were they geniuses? I don't remember this great American genius country. You know, H.L. Mencken said in 1920, H.L. Mencken said, no one ever went broke underestimating the intelligence of the American public. So what you have to do is you have to go where they are and find them with a message that they can receive. You know, we can talk on talk radio all we want about House Resolution 127 and the principles of, you know, when the Founding Fathers, blah, blah, but people are watching Comedy Central and they're, you know, watching the movie Ted. If we abandon popular culture, if we don't even try to engage in where normal people are, in normal conversations, if we don't find a doorway to open to them, then it doesn't matter if they're smart or stupid. They're never going to hear it. That's where we need to be. We need to be where the people are rather than saying, well, they ought to get smarter and read the paper. Well, they're not going to read the paper. So we need to go where they are.
Michael, what she's saying, though, is how do you get the people who are voting to cut their own throats?
I understand that. And that's an unusual number in Massachusetts, but it's not, certainly not the majority in America, and I don't know that it's the majority in Massachusetts. It's just that the people who are on the fence have rejected the notion of voting Republican. And that's why if we can fix the brand, they'll be open to it. Because on the ideas, I think, Jeffrey, that there are a lot, I don't know if we're a majority, but there's a working minority in Massachusetts that share the ideas. Do you?
I mean, no, I agree with Michael. Look, I think if we're losing the culture, and if you lose the culture, you're going to lose the politics. Now remember, in the 1960s, the left was in a minority. They were asking themselves, how do we accede to power? How do we achieve power? And so they went, they called it the long march through the institutions. And they said, we'll take over Hollywood, we'll take over academia, we'll take over the public schools, and eventually the state will fall in our hands like a ripe fruit. Now, she makes a brilliant point. Yes, there are many people who are willing to cut their own throats. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't even care about defending themselves. The problem with liberalism, and this is the problem with all left-wing movements, it goes against human nature. It's fundamentally flawed. It cannot last. So this regime that they're trying to serve, it's going to collapse. So to me, the greatest weapon we have is the truth. We have right on our side. We have the Constitution on our side. So what, I'll tell you right now, we would smash the liberals in a second if we would just insist. That's why I do a lot of stories on education. Our schools are becoming laboratories to indoctrinate our kids. But if they knew about the Constitution, if they knew about our founding fathers, if they knew about the principles that made this country great, believe me, we'd have a very different electorate. So rather than, I think Howie's brilliant on this, rather than doing an aerial bombardment where it's just television ads after television ads after television ads, and you see these Republicans show up every 2 or 4 years, if we went out and actually educated the American people about what this country was founded on, you'd see a very different ballgame. But the problem is we're seeding the culture. And if we continue to seed the culture, then we're going to lose. Now, to me, that's why I say, take it to them. Take it to them on school boards. Take it to them on your select committees. Do what they did in Westford. I'm just giving you one microcosm. And if we do that county by county, state by state by state, we're going to win because we have the truth on our side. But even more than that, I'm telling you, mark my words, you can film it and I'll stake my reputation on it. 2014 is going to be a bloodbath for the Democrats. This idea that Republicans are in the wilderness, that they're in exile, for now. But our time is coming because this dead bomb, it is going to blow. And the only alternative left is ours. So what I'm telling all of you is hang on. You're saying you're in the wilderness? Hang on. Give me about 18 more months, and then you'll see these Democrats running for the hills.